The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch.
Roger.
And today we're going to preview this Saturday's welterweight title fight between Kell Brook and Errol Spence. This one's going to be contested for the IBF welterweight title that is owned by Brook. And this one is going to go very far to further determine who is the man in the division. Because you got Keith Thurman with 2 belts, you got Kell Brook with a belt, and maybe after Saturday, Errol Spence will talk about how that's going to go down right now. So, like I said, the belts are being consolidated, so we're getting closer and closer to having a clear #1 guy in one of the premier divisions of the sport. Take it away, Rob.
Okay, so this fight is going on in Sheffield, England?
Yes.
In Kell Brook's backyard, which is cool because he is, at this point, the bigger name. He has the belt and probably brings the most money at this time for both fighters. So that is got the hometown advantage to start off with. And he's going against a young, hungry Errol Spence Jr., who has knocked out how many of his opponents?
Most of them.
In spectacular fashion. Most of these guys hadn't really been knocked out before, maybe been knocked down.
Yeah.
So just going from here, I'm expecting a pretty exciting fight.
Yeah.
With these two guys, we know Brook, he's got large balls. He went in there 2 weight classes above, fighting Triple G at middleweight. Actually had a good showing for the 4 rounds that it was. 5 rounds that it lasted, even though he was knocked out. And we have to see how he's going to respond because he had that broken orbital bone as well as a result of that fight.
Yeah. And not only that, well, he came back from the machete attack, which is bananas in itself.
He was also stabbed in the leg too. He's had some running. I think it was machete attack and he was stabbed.
Yeah, there was 2 separate occasions where he was stabbed in the leg.
Yeah.
So anyway, he did come back from that against limited opposition. Ever since the Porter fight, he didn't really fight like any more top guys until he fought Triple G, which, like Rob said, was 2 weight classes above where he was. And I don't really think that's his fault.
Yeah, I think either he's been stabbed or the fights have fallen through, because there were a lot of fights he's definitely could have fought him. They were trying to be made that just were falling through.
Yeah. So he fought the best guy that he could. He fought the mandatories. He did what he had to do to defend his belt. And he was doing so in very impressive fashion, might I add. But now with Spence, he's back up to that upper echelon opponent. And really, this is all just speculation because Spence hasn't really fought any upper echelon guys either. Outside of Chris Algieri, who was a former world champ and a multiple time challenger. He challenged Manny Pacquiao for his belt. And
he's also fought Amir Khan and
he fought Amir Khan.
Provodnikov.
Well, he won the belt against Provodnikov. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's probably the best name on Errol Spence's resume. Which is good because Manny Pacquiao dropped him 6 times and Errol Spence
completely got him out of there.
Right. So, both guys right now are fighting the best guy that they fought in a while, which is a very good thing. That's what we want. So let's talk about some skills here. As far as stance goes, we got a southpaw in Spence and an orthodox fighter in Kell Brook. I believe I've seen Kell Brook switch a few times, but it's not something he does often. So, originally when I first, for some reason, I thought Errol Spence was really short. Then I saw them standing next to each other and I was like, whoa, Errol Spence is bigger than Kell Brook. I did not see that coming. But the reason I say that is that Kell Brook is very good at using his size against his opponents. He's a very big welterweight. And he was able to do it against Sean Porter, who is a massively strong man. Against all of his other opponents, he was able to do that because he was bigger than the majority of them.
And the only one he really had any trouble with was actually Carson Jones. And then when they fought at a catch weight, I want to say it was about 150.
It was like 150 something.
Yeah, 150, 151, where he was more comfortable. He was able to I guess be at a more natural size, because not only is he a little bit tall, I think he's about 5'9", but he's also just a heavily muscled dude if you've ever seen him. And he's not small, and that's after seeing him in person.
Right, yeah. We saw him at the Jack DeGale fight. Yeah, he's not a small dude.
At all. So, in saying that, he's going against a guy who's equally, if not bigger, physically. I think Spence has an easier time getting down to 147. Yeah. And that's another thing, because Brook was super muscled at the Triple G fight. How does taking that muscle off affect him? Because if you saw that fight, that wasn't, well, I just don't have to lose as much weight. No.
He built himself up to be a legit middleweight.
So how does that decrease of muscle affect him? Granted, that was what, a year ago?
Not even a year ago. It was in September of last year.
So that's a short amount of time to take off that much muscle and still be in some really good shape and have that stamina and endurance to fight a dude like Errol Spence.
Yeah, and Errol Spence is a master of distance. He's not going to be too far away, and he's not going to be in too close to where he can't land his punches and smother his work. So Brook is going to have to negate that by mastering his own distance, where he can touch Spence and then use that physical strength to tie him up. That's something that a lot of guys have not done to Errol Spence. They've tried and failed, but I think Kell Brook may be able to do it, like I said, because of that size. He is a bigger, stronger guy than most of the guys that Errol Spence has fought. So he may be able to like hit him with the 1-2, grab him, turn him, maybe have the ref reset him, and then repeat. Or give Errol Spence a little bit of movement and then go into the inside. I think he's going to have to master that clinch in order to stop and break Errol Spence's rhythm. Because if he lets Errol Spence stay in his range and just beat on him, it's going to end up being a long night.
And if you watch Errol Spence fight, he's very good enough offensively by providing pressure on his opponents. He offensively overwhelms them. It doesn't necessarily make him a pressure fighter, but he offensively overwhelms his opponents. That's how he was able to get Algeria out of there. That's how he was able to get, what's my man, the French dude that fought? Bondu out of there. I mean, he was just able to provide very intense, very sharp offensive pressure on his opponent
from the correct distance.
The thing about it is, he opens up, so he's there to be hit. And we've seen him hit. I don't know, he's been knocked down. I'm not sure we've seen him actually like physically hurt.
I haven't seen him knocked down.
Either he was knocked down or he was like hurt, but I think there was an instance that he got up off the canvas, but it was like early in his career.
I'm gonna have to look. I don't remember that, so I have to look that up to be sure.
I have to check as well.
Recall him going down, but I have seen him hit. But when I have seen him hit, he's taken it well. But those punches that he was taking weren't punches from Kell Brook.
Right, and the thing about Kell Brook, even going against a guy who provided pressure and provides pressure all the time in Sean Porter, not only was he able to physically handle Porter, but he was also able to time him because he was lunging in. I think he can get that same kind of timing with Spence. Because
he has excellent timing.
He's probably got some of the best timing in boxing right now, especially with his jab and following up with the two.
Yeah,
so
and that's why I'm saying he uses that, then ties up Spence. Because if he just throws that 1-2, Spence is going to start timing him and then working off of that. So if he doesn't tie him up.
So you got to shock him, get his attention, and make him hesitant from providing as much pressure. Take that pressure off you as the rounds go on.
Right.
Now with Spence, because he's such a good, offensively gifted, sharp, and intense fighter, I think he's got to push Kell Brook fast. If you look at the fights that he's actually had trouble with, now we're not saying he hadn't had trouble with the Porter fight, but fighters who are able to carry him fast and stay on top of him, again, like a Porter, who that fight was extremely close.
It was.
Or a Triple G, even though Triple G is bigger and a harder puncher, he had to really push so he could start landing on Brook and start pushing him back. And even then, Brook was able to hit him with some stuff that had Triple G a
little hesitant.
Yeah. So
and that's Kell Brook's strength. Kell Brook can slow things down to a pace that he desires very well. He did it against Sean Porter because, like Rob said, Sean Porter sets a torrid pace, and Brook was able to slow him down a lot, either by timing him on the way in, or if he was able to make it in, grabbing him and completely stopping the action, so Brook couldn't maul. I mean, not Brook. So Porter couldn't maul him. See Andre Berto fight.
Now, it's interesting because we've talked about this before. If you've actually watched the training videos of Brook, he looks much faster hitting the mitts than he does in the ring. And I think that's probably because he's more relaxed and adept to timing instead of trying to give these explosive combinations a la the mitts, because anything can look good on the mitts and not look the same in the ring.
Yeah, but it's still fast enough that he can catch you when he needs to. Like, when he's working the mitts, he's throwing like 6, 7, 8 punch combinations. In the ring, he's much more efficient. He doesn't need to throw that many combinations, but when he does throw, Chippendale.
Yeah.
Just had some chipmunks run across the floor. Don't mind us. Anyway, but when he needs to throw and hit you with a combination, it's going to be there. See the Triple G fight.
Right.
He was able to hook and uppercut off of his jab very swiftly and get to his target when it needed to be there. Now Spence, what he does to negate guys doing such things is, because he's a southpaw, he's going to be here, but he gets in a wide stance and he likes to lean back and lean forward to give an offensive and defensive posture, so he can lean back to it, like he'll be here and you think you're going to hit him, and all he has to do is shift back just a little bit and those punches just barely miss, or he can just block or slip, and then he's right back in there. Boom, right hook to the body, left uppercut, right hook upstairs, and you're like, wait, I knew he was right here. Now he's not, but he's hitting me. What just happened? So Spence has to do that consistently in order to wear Kell Brook down.
And the other thing about it, when he does land, gets his attention, or even hurts him, he can't, one, rush, because Brook can still time him. Two, he can't let him escape.
Yes.
He's gotta cut off that ring. I'm not saying Kell Brook's a big mover, but make it easy on yourself. Keep him from escaping against the ropes. Push him back, make sure he has nowhere to go, then unload on him.
Yeah. So he has to set his punches, set traps, cut off the ring, because like you said, he's not a mover, but he can move.
Right.
So when Kell Brook decides he needs to get some space and reset and maybe get another look, he can do it. So Spence can't let him do that often. When he starts to be like, oh, let me get another look, he's like, no, you gonna stay with this look, because this the look I like, and you gonna have to deal with it. That's the dynamic we're gonna see playing out in this fight. Now, as far as a pick, I'm still on the fence. Errol Spence has shown everything possible to be the man one day in this division. It's now time for him to show all the potential that the people, us included, see in him.
Yeah, right now I don't have a pick because they both bring something completely different to the table. Right now, Errol Spence Jr. is the sexy pick because of he's young, he's up and coming, he looks great offensively. Right, but you also have Kell Brook, who is battle tested, who is extremely tough, who has some intangibles that you don't get to see, or you see and don't really notice, and then you wonder why he's only got one loss, and that's to a bigger opponent.
Right.
So check our Facebook, check the page. We're gonna put it up there. We're gonna put the actual pick that we're gonna look at come at least by midday Saturday.
Yeah, it'll be on all of them. We'll put it on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Those are our 3 major ones.
Right.
So it'll be on one of those, and this will be out. I'm assuming it was Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. It'll be out later on today. So they'll give us some time to watch the open workouts, watch the weigh-in, and then make a concrete pick based on what we see from there. So that's it for this video, guys. Leave us your thoughts below. If you have a surefire pick, let us know who it is and why. Follow us on all of our social media platforms that we just mentioned. Subscribe to this channel, because this is our major outlet of information here.
If you already subscribed, hit the bell icon so you can get all our updates, all our YouTube videos that we tend to post during the week.
Yes. And that is really it. All that's left is for them to fight the fight, and then we study it and let you know what happens in the recap. So, like we said, subscribe, follow us on the social media, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, fight on.
This is round one, and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost. My fists are on fire, I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage, keep thinking that it's a game. I kick rhyme, hurricane. I told them I don't play, I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.